One of the things that helped me notice that I was at peace more often than I thought I was is this one perspective shift. And I started paying attention to what my mind was paying attention to, and most importantly, what my mind wasn't paying attention to. Because it's so easy to get caught up in stress and anxiety and pain and depression, right? We notice these things, right? They're constantly vying for our attention. It's hard not to notice them, right? But one of the shifts that you have to make is you start paying attention to what your mind is paying attention to. And as I said, and also what your mind isn't paying attention to. Hi, for those of you who are new, I'm Mike. I've had OCD and anxiety for the past 10 years of my life, and I started this channel to turn that turmoil into tools and share them with you and to myself. You have to start noticing the absence to find peace. What I mean is noticing the absence of stress, noticing the absence of anxiety, noticing the absence of problems that you once had in your life, right? And it's not just paying attention to the solutions, and it's not just appreciating the solutions, but also appreciating the fact that there are certain things in the past that have caused you pain that are not there anymore. Right now, for example, right, I'm noticing that I'm not anxious, right? I'm noticing the breeze that's coming in on the plant. I'm noticing the birds outside. I'm noticing the absence of anger. I'm noticing the absence of stress. I'm noticing the absence of anxiety, right? Because there was times last week, last month, just as I'm sure there was with you, that you were stressed or you were anxious, you were angry, there was a problem that was in front of you, and it's no longer there. Now, I'm not saying that they have all of your problems have come to a solution and that everything is fine and all of the pieces have fallen together, but is just to simply notice that there are certain problems or certain degrees of problems which you have experienced in the past that have either gotten at least a little bit better or aren't completely there at all anymore. And it's in noticing the absence of these things, it's noticing the absence of our pain, absence of these emotions, absence of these stressors, that we can find peace. I'm not saying that it means everything is perfect, right? And there is an absence of any pain whatsoever, but just noticing the change and noticing the absence of things that were causing you pain and causing you distress last week, last month, last year, that you couldn't wait to get over, you couldn't wait to get out of, that are no longer there anymore, right? And simply practice bringing that to mind, practicing noticing the absence of noise, right? When you're looking for peace and quiet, noticing that there's an absence of noise. But what's so interesting is that sometimes where you've been in silence for too long, maybe, and you love hearing the sound of a full house, then you can notice the absence of quiet. You can notice the absence of silence, and you can notice the chattering of your family, the chattering of your friends. So it's not just paying attention to the little things. It's not just paying attention to the good things. It's also noticing the absence of things that you don't want and the absence of things that you were struggling with for so long that are no longer there. For somebody who loves sunshine, right? You can notice the absence of rain. You notice the absence of dark clouds. You notice the absence of the gray tone, right? That is put over things with an overcast sky. You can notice the vibrant colors a little bit more. You could notice the way that the sun reflects on certain objects in your room, right? The way the breeze moves through the trees, or the breeze moves through things that you're looking at, or the way the birds are chirping. And that there is peace and purpose to be found in those little things. And you can notice those things more when you start reminding yourself that there is an absence of stressors. Like everybody can think about a time where maybe they were stressed, anxious, maybe they were yelling and screaming, something was going on at work, there was tension in their life and their family, there was pain, and that's no longer the case. Then again, I'm not saying it means that everything's fully resolved, but it means that there is an absence of that stressor in your life and it's no longer there. And it doesn't mean it happens all the time. Okay. It just noticing the moments in which that these things are not present. So it's not just noticing the presence of things, it's also noticing the absence of things that can help you to realize that we have more moments of peace than we actually realize. Doesn't mean that the whole day's perfect, but there's more moments of peace throughout the day that you can notice if you can implement this tool. If you can realize that, you can experience peace just a little bit more often. Look, life doesn't always give us answers. It doesn't always tell us what to look for, what presents to look for, what not to look for, right? But it gives us these moments, it gives us these opportunities that we could use to seek virtue, that we could use later on down in life to help us to make better decisions, to help us to lead more fulfilling lives. And that's what this channel is all about. That's what I'm trying to do for not only the people who are watching, but also doing it for myself, right? To remind myself of these tools, or all of these mental health tools, spiritual tools that I've used to help me, right? That I've written down to help me in a better life. That's what, to have a better life. That's what this channel is all about. If that's something that interests you, hit that subscribe button. I post easy to follow, pragmatic videos once a week. I have shorts. I have different prayers that I use, some from the gospel, some from various books that I have that can help you to get that little bit extra encouragement that you need, right? So remember, it is not just noticing the presence of good things, it's also noticing the absence of the negative that can also bring you peace. I'm rooting for you, kid. Have you ever heard talking to your plants apparently makes them grow? This guy, I've moved around the room like 3 different times and he's still, he's doing all right. I don't know.